All right. It's Friday. You know what that means. Another episode of AYS Fight Club coming at you. I'm one half of your esteemed host. I am Daniel Dees. Alongside me, as always, is Matt Bricker, the man of many hats. Tonight, I got the hat on, too. Not a good hair day for me, so I just threw it on backwards. But Matt, he's representing the Pelicans tonight. I dig it. Better than that Chicago stuff you usually wear, so it's all good. Tony Williams in the chat. What's up? What's up with you, sir? Thanks for joining the club. Devin Stell. What's up? Fighting in the buffer voice. Which buffer? Michael or Bruce?
We got a better voice for you than either
buffer.
buffer.
Yes, we got David.
Y'all are in for it.
Yeah, we got Dynamite. David Hardy joining us. Can't wait for that. All right, so let's go ahead and congratulate AYS alumni, Fight Club member, AJ Fletcher, the Ghost, who just scored a beautiful submission victory at Icon. Matt, you want to give us a quick rundown on that?
Yeah, I caught it just before the show started. I mean, he had perfect timing. He almost did it just for us here at the Fight Club. Yeah, I mean, he landed a beautiful shot. I mean, dropped him right out the gate, got the pressure on, got the arm and head choke. About minute 45 or so into the first round. Beautiful. Big win against Wesley Golden, who's fighting out of American Top Team. So it was a big win on a big stage. So awesome to see that for him.
Yep. All right. So before we get into our topics for tonight, go ahead, go to our Are You Serious Sports page on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You will not regret that. Good stuff coming out of our brand. We're looking to grow our brand, so if you want to join us, hit up the boss, Blake Ruffino, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever platform you so desire. Hit him up, but be sure to subscribe to our YouTube. All right, before we bring on David Hardy, let's go ahead and talk about the big news of the week. Was with Chimaev announcing on Instagram that he is retiring. We have never seen somebody with such a big hype train just call it quits in the middle of their career. I mean, maybe the closest thing I can think of is Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson. I mean, as a Bears fan, you probably love seeing them walk away early. So, Matt, what do you think of this early retirement?
Yeah, Barry Sanders definitely gave me nightmares as a kid. I can tell you that for sure. Man, I think it was – I know he's been having issues with COVID, and I know that's actually why he was brought to the States for better medical attention. I think it was just a falling out with that, maybe just a bad day with his medicine or something like that. Maybe just frustrated he's not feeling well yet, because I think he's still having some bouts with it, and I think it was just frustration more than anything. I know Dana seemed more than confident, and normally Dana's got a lot of BS that comes out, but it seemed different when he said, "I know he's not retiring." It was almost just like, trust me on this one. He says that a lot of times, but it seemed like legitimately, it was one of those things like just, he's – and we've seen Chimaev is not afraid to post on social media what he thinks. And that's one of those things we always talk about, the culture thing, the Russia, the Poland, that Eastern Europe. They're not afraid to say what's on their mind. When I interview fighters here in the United States, it is hard to get information. You really got to, push to get stuff. They never release fight dates. I just talked to a Polish fighter. He's like, yeah, he said, I got a ACA bout coming up. He said, I'll let you know as soon as I know when it is. I'll let you know before anybody else knows. Like they put all that stuff out. It's a totally different breed over there. And I think he's like that. He's very vocal. We see that a lot with Khabib, very vocal, say what's on their minds. And, with social media nowadays, it's easy for more of that to come out than you really, need for it to come out. I think it was just frustration more than anything.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm with you on this. I think when Dana said, he came out and said he's not retired, this time I actually believed Dana, one of the few times that the broken clock's right twice a day, that I'm with Dana on this. I don't think he's retired. I just think it was just he probably tried to go outside, do some light cardio, just couldn't do it. He was breathing heavy. I mean, and before this, he posted a picture of him coughing up blood in the sink. So I just think he felt a little discouraged. I think he jumped the gun on retiring. I think after talking with Dana, I think he's going to come back. I'm almost positive. I would bet a decent amount of money on this. All right, so let's go ahead and get Dynamite David Hardy in with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, live from Covington, St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, Dynamite David party.
That's right, the Michael Maestro of the microphone. He is here, locked, cocked, and ready to rock on Are You Serious Sports Network.
Hey, I dig that.
We need to record that.
I hope Blake got a good
did you record that, Blake? We're going to have to use that.
So how you guys doing this afternoon? Double D, Daniel D's, and ain't nobody slicker than Matt Bricker. Coming to you live, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, can you just follow me around my day job and just hype me up like this? I'm a 7th grade teacher, so I'm sure the kids would love that. So, David, you had your UFC Fight Pass debut the other night. So how was that? How's that felt?
It was pretty exciting, man. I've been at this for 13 years behind the mic just in mixed martial arts. I've been behind the mic for team sports for a lot of years. But you work at it, man. There's not a big, huge media market down here in the Gulf South, as you know. So for a homegrown promotion like AKA American Combat Alliance to get that opportunity, and lucky enough, I have worked my way through and got all the way up to Shreveport. So, I mean, that's a 5.5-hour drive from where I live. So being able to get my name known that far, all the way up there for them to bring me up about 2 years ago, man, just landed in the right place at the right time and really gaining steam at Bishop Promotions and AKA.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of the AKA. I love what they're putting out. I love the local promotions. And, man, Shreveport, that is a stupid drive. I'm from Tangipahoa Parish, so you're right next door to me. So I know.
I was born and bred in Ponchatoula, graduated Ponchatoula High School.
Oh, old Ranchatoula.
Yeah, man.
So you say you've been around the fight game a long time. So when did you first start getting into this?
Let's see. I started in 2007, I think is when I called my first ever fight. And believe it or not, I kind of came out of the gate pretty cool. We were in Mandeville, Louisiana at the Castine Center for a promotion called Renaissance MMA. Well, that night in the main event, we had Scott, the Grizzly Bear Barrett, taking on Sean Jordan. It was Sean Jordan's first ever amateur fight. As you know, Sean went on to be a UFC and a PFL heavyweight, 2-time national champion with the LSU Tigers. So, yeah, that was pretty cool for me, man. My first fight ever, and that's who I got to introduce was Sean Jordan. And many years later, got to meet him, got to know him, became good friends. We were in the movie The Philly Kid together. Yeah, Sean was a good guy to be around, man. So that was cool for me, your first fight ever. Boom, there you are. And it was really neat. You see the hat? That night when he came out to the cage, Dwayne Bowe, Early Doucette, I mean the entire LSU 07 national championship team damn near walked him out to the cage. So I'm in the center of the cage trying to be cool, trying to be Mr. Ring Announcer, and it's just, woo! I was marking out, man. I was giddy over seeing all these national championship LSU players that night as well.
Oh, man. Like I said, if the boss Blake is watching it, he's going to be so damn jealous just hearing that. Speaking of LSU, we actually had Jacory Savage win his, was that his pro debut or amateur debut?
No, that was his amateur fight. Second amateur fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I saw the replay. Man, he boomed that dude. Just absolutely mopped him.
Daniel, if you'd have seen how far he's progressed from his first fight, the first time he stepped into the cage was at Gulf Coast MMA in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Just so happened yours truly was the ring announcer that night. So Jacory comes out, he takes on a pretty seasoned amateur and a big, strong young man in Jamal Tatum. Now, the fight wasn't very flashy as far as a lot of technique, but Jamal knew what he needed to do to get the win in that fight. He leaned on Jacory, took advantage of his lack of knowledge and real fight experience, and just kind of grinded out a tough, somewhat dull win, but still it's a win nonetheless. And that's a nice feather in your hat, knocking off an athlete of that caliber. But when you watch that fight, in contrast to what we saw at AKA, it's amazing how far Jacory has advanced already. And then to see that killer instinct he had at AKA, when the opponent went down, he knew there was no hesitation. He's coming in ready to stop the fight. And that's the kind of instincts that, man, either you can bring that out in the gym, and we know T. Webb, the best guy to bring that out of his fighters, and we're seeing it very quick out of Jacory Savage. So you know the athletic background he's got, and now you see his fight game progressing pretty fast.
That's awesome. So, yeah, you say you pretty much geeked out watching the LSU Natty team come out with Sean Jordan. Not besides all the LSU athletes, have you ever marked out for a fighter that you're fixing to announce? Like you just fanboyed a little bit. Have you ever had those moments?
Not that anybody would see, but yeah, deep down inside, of course I did. When I got to do Rich Clementi at the Blackham Coliseum in Lafayette for a Gulf GFA show. All right, that was, man, Global Fighting Alliance, Alan Gray and that group when I was with them. That was so cool. And I can't for the life of me, I'd have to pull the fight card out. Remember the guy he fought, but he was a very top guy. He co-authored one of Randy Couture's first book. I mean, this fella ran the Extreme Couture gym back then. I don't remember his name. Bloody fight. Joanne Kona was the referee that night, Matt Bricker. But yes,
Wow.
I got to introduce Rich Clemente live to the crowd. That was really cool. So I marked out a little bit on that. Getting to meet Tim Crater the first time, man. Ran out of the cage like, holy cow, this is Tim Crater. And now years later, we're friends. We worked together in a Bayou Fighting Championship. So, yeah, there's been a lot of moments throughout that, man. Met Jon Jones at Harrah's in New Orleans. He came to a Renaissance fight one night. So, yeah, it's been many times. Meeting Devin Haney the first time, introducing him at Showtime Boxing. That was cool.
Yeah. Was it the guy who Rich fought? Was it Glenn Codorza by any chance?
No, it wasn't Glenn Codorza. If you said the guy's name, I'll probably remember.
Who was running with Randy at the time? It could have been.
And this was a good solid 9 years ago, 10 years ago. It was before Rich got into the Bellator tournaments. So it's kind of in between him leaving UFC, not quite in the Bellator tournament yet. It was in those days. And man, look, bloody fight. Oh, goodness. Up until the Ray Trujillo and Jesse Butler fight, Matt, at AKA. That was the bloodiest fight I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, Matt was telling me about all that. I'm like, man, because Trujillo, don't let the record fool you. The dude's an absolute dog in that cage. I mean, I've seen him a lot.
That has that many professional fights is a dog. It's pretty much a 500 record with him. But when you've got 45, 50 professional fights, buddy, you're game.
Yeah, that back when my buddies were first starting watching UFC, like they would look at Mark Hunt's record and be like, oh my God, he sucks. I'm like, no, don't let that record fool you. Like that's my go-to fighter when people say they try to judge fighters off of a record. I'm like, nope, watch Mark Hunt. Dude,
there's so many weapons available to a fighter in a mixed martial arts contest. Mm-hmm. You've got so many different styles at play. The record is not always indicative of the talent level because guys can just get caught, not only with a puncher's chance like you have in boxing solo. Now you got the chance to get just slipped into a bad submission, and there could be 15, 20 different submissions that can catch you. So there's so many more things that can happen in an MMA fight to where sometimes even the best in the world, they just get caught.
Yeah. Another good example of that would be Ben Askren a few years ago. Like he was trying to close that space with Masvidal. Just so happens the lightning struck right where it needed to strike out, caught with the flying knee, and the rest was history on that. So yeah, please. So all you people watching who are just now getting in the sport, do not judge fighters by that record. Just don't. Like that's like my MMA commandment number 1 right there. So,
and I can tell you, Double D, something that adds to that as well. If you look at a boxer's career, boxers have 30, 40, 50, 60 amateur fights before they ever go pro. They don't take the damage that a mixed martial artist does in their amateur career. So you see MMA guys will go pro pretty fast, sometimes a little prematurely, but to be honestly, excuse my language, they get tired of getting their asses beat for free. And say, hey, man, I'm going to make some dollars to do this, and then I'll see where it can go. So that kind of speeds up the career. And early in a pro career, sometimes guys will start off on a skid and then turn it around when that light goes off.
Yeah, absolutely. So a while back, we had another announcer over here. I asked him if he had any like pre-fight rituals, like for his voice or whatever. Do you have that?
Not really, because most times I don't have time to warm up, man. When you're driving that far to get to a show, a lot of times you get off work, you haul butt over there, you get time to check into the hotel, throw the tux on, fly in, you walk in the door as soon as you get there. Hey, Dynamite, we got pre-fight interviews over here. Hey, Dynamite, I need to talk to you. Hey, Dynamite, we get this ready right here. So you really just kind of jump into it. You might do a few me's in the car on the way there, but that's about it, man. If I ever get 5 minutes to prepare, I could be lethal.
What made you just up and one day think, I want to go in there with a microphone in my hand and just announce these guys?
Believe it or not, man, it started from just a boyhood passion. When I was a young man growing up, loved pro wrestling like most kids my age in that era did. Huge Hulk Hogan fan. But something about the announcers and the energy they brought kind of caught my eye. And then when I got into high school, I got into extemporaneous public speaking through FFA. Well, I started placing very high. I was pretty good at it pretty quick. I knew I had a knack to talk. Well, one day I get a call on the loudspeaker at Ponchatoula High, Coach Thompson, hits me up, David Hardy, come to the office. David Hardy, come to the – man, I think I'm in trouble because I kind of got in trouble a little bit back then. But I think, man, I'm going to be in some deep doo-doo here. We called to the office. The fella that was the announcer for the football team, which is, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. He rolled out. Now, this is on a Wednesday. He asked me, hey, we need an announcer. Why don't you do the football game Friday night? So it just kind of got thrust on me right then and there. 2 days prep. Yeah, I'll do it. And I fell in love with it. The first night I did it, it was such a euphoria, such a rush. Couldn't describe it. Loved it. So I did that, radio and things for quite a while. I worked with the Hammond Thunder, semi-pro national championship team in Hammond back in 1996. Had a radio show on a little country station over there. Then just kept going. I started doing football over here in St. Tammany. I did the game of the week for the Lake 94.7, high school football and basketball. I was selling luxury cars at the time. Guy walks in, the guy who was the owner of Renaissance MMA, Dr. Rico Imposado. I sold him and his wife an Infiniti QX56. And as we were talking, he said, man, you got a pretty nice voice there. And he looked at me and said, you ever watch that Ultimate Fighting on TV? I said, oh, man, I'm a huge fan. I absolutely love it. And he said, well, I just happen to need an announcer. I've got a promotion in New Orleans. You want to give it a shot? I said, man, it's the frog's ass watertight. Let's do it. So I went over there, gave it a shot. You don't know what you're doing. There's no book to go check out at the library. Hey, how to be a ring announcer. It's different for everybody. You got to develop your own style. So over time, just kind of started doing it, throwing things out there, being a little brave, seeing what would happen. You get a reaction out of the crowd. Yep, writing that one down. And you just kind of add it to the stick, man, to the act. And honestly, I've been at it 13 years now. So I've honed it to at least what works for me.
Hey, whatever works for you, man. We got a question in the comments from Devin saying, hashtag Ask Dynamite, most underrated wrestler of your generation. Like,
most underrated wrestler of my generation, underappreciated, well, definitely Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. That guy could perform and sell. Kurt could put anybody over, man, and he was so great. And that's the beauty of the artwork. I guess we didn't see so much back then because the curtain was just starting to get pulled back to what really happened backstage. But yeah, this guy, he made everybody he worked with look like $1 million. He was fantastic. And he's one of those guys that never got the accolades due to never really being the world champion, but he didn't need it. He was the guy the promotion always knew, hey, we want to really get somebody over. We want to build our next Hulk Hogan, our next Macho Man. There's your stepping stone. If you can work with Kurt for 30, 40 minutes, hey, we'll give you the ball and let you run with it.
Yeah. I hope Nunzio's watching that. If anybody would appreciate that answer, it'd be Coach Nunzio. Professor Nunzio now. I'm sorry.
Yes, Nunzio. Nunzilla Camarata. Yes, sir.
Yes. I love Nunzio, one of my favorite training partners. He's taught me a lot because he's a big guy. I'm a big guy. He taught me a lot of grappling, that what's useful for big boys grappling. So I appreciate him. He's one of my favorite people in this whole world. So shout out to Nunzilla.
Nunzio's a good guy, man. Old Dynamite loves you, brother.
Yes. Hopefully he's watching. All right. So are there any fighters current day where as soon as you see that he's on the card, you're like, yes, I get to see this guy in action again? You have any of those fighters that you're looking at the card like, yes, let's do this?
There's several of them right now, man, that I get excited to see. One is Brandon Michael Davis, Killer B, over in Gulf Coast MMA. You know, he had a short run in the UFC. One of those guys, he was successful in the UFC, but it's just one of those rungs. They bring you in. You're not really got a huge star power, big following just yet. So it's, hey, let you go win a few fights, and we'll bring you back. So Brandon's on that trail to get back. But, man, what I've seen him do inside the cage at Gulf Coast MMA with Jonathan Island and there was some with Brad Kelly, who's a bare-knuckle fighting star right now. I mean, Brandon is absolutely dynamite. I love watching him in there fight. Great guy. Now, some guys that are really, really fun to watch, Justice Lamprez has been one of my favorites for a long time. When Justice walks out with the shirt off, he doesn't have the impressive athletic physique that you would expect out of a fighter, a little bit of a gangly fellow, and then he's always had fun with it and asked me to introduce him as, hey, the trailer trash specialist as his fighting style. So here you get the crowd laughing and they start making fun of him before the fight ever starts. And then by round 2, round 3 is, whoa, they absolutely love the guy. They start out making fun of it, and then they see the heart and the passion that he fights with. Man, Justice is always so fun to watch the crowd see their reaction and their mindset on him change throughout that fight. So Justice is always fun as well.
Yeah. Are there any current fighters in like the UFC, Bellator, PFL that you wish, like you just want to be in that ring introducing them? Are any of those guys for you?
Oh man, just to be inside the UFC cage right there, brother. Man, that's it. I can introduce anybody in there, and I'm good to go. Now you've got a
Introduce a
fantastic
line
crop
if you
of
could.
fighters. And hey, talking about that, I mean, guys talk about the news a lot. You see, Alistair Overeem got his walking papers. So did Sagano Junior Dos Santos. They
Yeah,
both
that's one
got
of the
their
topics
walking
we're going to bring
papers
up.
today. They're done.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's bring that up. That was one of our talking points tonight. I'll be glad to talk about that with you. So, what was your initial reaction when that news broke?
Man, it's just Alistair Overeem. He's on a pretty good run. I think he's 4-2 right now in his last 6 fights, something like that. But I don't know. A lot of the magic kind of went away from him, and a lot of people blame it on the USC, ADA, the anti-doping, and he shrunk back down a little bit. But I don't know. He's won. He's got a good record, but it hasn't been flashy wins. It hasn't been impressive. And they're paying the guy, what, $800,000 a fight, $750, $900, something like that. And I just don't see where the UFC are looking at this. Hey, this guy's not producing $800,000 a fight worth of product here. And with Junior Dos Santos, man, I've always been a big, huge fan of him because for a mixed martial artist and a heavyweight at that, he's got hands like Sugar Ray Leonard. If you watch that big man work a speed bag and just see the things he can do and watch his combos, his pad work with his trainers, it's amazing. But again, just another one with a record. I mean, he's been in some wars, but just get caught from time to time or just can't quite find that win. And he's been around for a while, getting a little older, but hey, at some point in time, it's all a business, guys. We know that.
Yeah, what floored me is that heavyweight is a shallow division in the UFC enough as it is. So it just took me by surprise. I'm like, so what is their top 10 fixing to look like now? You just got rid of Junior, your former kingpin of the heavyweight division, the guy who unseated Cain Velasquez back when he was looked at as like an unstoppable monster. And then you get Alistair Overeem, who is a heavyweight legend coming from Pride. I think we only got 2 Pride guys left on the roster right now. We got
That's about right.
Yeah, we got Shogun and technically Robbie Lawler. He had 1 Pride fight, so he gets the credit for being a Pride fighter. So we only got 2 guys left from that era. So what do you think the message is the UFC sending right now? Just, yeah, you have these accolades to your name, but we just can't work with you anymore. So you think UFC is sending a new message like we're trying to build this up, or you think they're going a different direction?
I just don't know that UFC have the big quote unquote star power in heavyweights right now. And then the ones that are kind of the guys that catch that power, that star for a little bit, they don't have longevity in the heavyweight division. Cain Velasquez, in and out pretty fast. Brock Lesnar, because of the diverticulitis on the first run. Brock Lesnar was actually, in and out pretty fast. The last time I can think of, Tim Sylvia, he was around for a long time before the heavyweight division got to where it is now, but that was a guy who rode that division for a lot of years. You just see guys come and go so quickly in the heavyweight division, and you just don't have those guys that carry the star power to, be in that main event in that big money role. Right now, it's the 135, the 155, the 170, the Izzy Adriasanas, the Kamaru Usmans. Now, one I do really, really like, and guys that are starting to get there, Derek the Black Beast Lewis. Look, that guy's got charisma. That guy's entertaining. That guy is a killer, man. He's serving up great poupon gourmet knuckle sandwiches. But he's one of those guys you hear the critics, hey, if he would lock in and train like he should, like a professional world-class world champion would, he'd be unstoppable. And then you got just scary big man, Francis Ngannou. I mean, good Lord, who would ever want that cinder block upside your head? I saw a picture with him and Tim Crater, Matt, and I mean, he made Tim look like a squirt. I mean, Francis is huge, big guy, man. Big
Tim's
guy.
not a small man himself.
No. So you got some up and comers, and maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're saying, hey, guys, we appreciate everything you did for us here. I'm sure there's still some value for you out there in other places, but we're going to try to give these guys more money and bring them up because you constantly got to have that fresh talent. You've got to keep interest in it.
Yeah, and like another heavyweight who just made their name last week was Cyril Gane. I've never seen a heavyweight bring this kind of conditioning for 5 rounds. Like he looked as fresh in the 5th round as he did in the 2nd round. I thought that was pretty. Yeah, was it the most exciting fight? No, but when you got 2 technical strikers at heavyweight, that's a rarity in itself right there. 2 high-level technical strikers with Gane and Rosenstrike. So I think like what you just said, like we're building this up right now. So
Well, if you think about it, good.
I should say I'm glad you said it just like that.
Yeah, in every form of combat sports, if you think about it, your big money draws, your super big draws have always been heavyweights. Be it professional wrestling, your Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giants, be it boxing, your Mike Tyson, your Evander Holyfield, your George Foremans. The big guys draw the bucks, but you've got to have the right big guys that have the star power. And it's the same thing in mixed martial arts. And you know the folks behind the scenes there, I mean, they're way smarter than old Dynamite. So I'm sure they see all this and they know this as well. Look at what we're doing with guys who are 5'6", 140 pounds. Imagine what we could do with somebody who's 6'3", 247 pounds. You know, we get behind those big guys. So they see that, and hey, it's time to start pushing the younger crowd and get those big, exciting fights again in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, even Jon Jones is coming up for it now. But do you think the UFC made a mistake by automatically saying he's getting the title fight? Because in my mind, because after Derek Lewis's dominant, like I wouldn't say it was a dominant performance because he was kind of getting worked by Curtis Blades, but after his highlight reel knockout, what do you do with Derek Lewis now? I mean, he said he wanted Overeem, and then Overeem walked. So at this point, what do you do with Derek Lewis? Because you already guaranteed Jon Jones that title shot.
Well, you've got options, but when you think about it, I mean, Jon Jones has been money since day one. Look at all the controversy throughout his career. Look at the ups and downs, and every time he's just like a Conor McGregor. The guy draws. He put asses in seats, and arguably, like him or hate him, he's one of the greatest mixed martial artists, if not the, to ever step in the cage. So that's what they're looking at. Of course, yeah, he's coming up to a new division. So he's fresh, he's brand new, he's got eyes on him. You've got to take advantage of that. It's not always fair. Sometimes the ranking system is as good as the toilet paper in the bathroom because you might as well wipe your ass with it. They're going to put who in there is going to put the most butts in the seats and make the most money for the company. Life ain't always fair, boys. We all know that. But, hey, we all get entertained as fans, so we benefit from it.
Yeah, we know too well life ain't fair, especially when it comes to the fight game, because guys get jumped all the time, whether it's boxing, K1, you name the combat sports, somebody has gotten screwed royally all the time. And moving on from Jon Jones, during the Cyril Gane fight, he tweeted out a message saying that like if these guys don't press forward, they're going to have a bad time with me. Daddy's home. And Francis Ngannou kind of planted the seed, responded to that tweet saying pretty much, you're home, whatever, dude. So that's based just off that. I kind of hope we get that Jon Jones Francis Ngannou fight, because that's a fantasy matchup that we wouldn't think would ever happen, because we always thought that Jon Jones was a lifer at 205.
And see, that gives guys like us, the pundits, the motor mouths of the industry, man. We have got cannon fodder all day now because you got something new to talk about. Well, Jon Jones is now a heavyweight. How's his body responded to the extra weight? How quick is his movement? How light is he on his feet? How strong is his chin to fight a 25-pound heavier man than he normally walks around at? So, man, we've got questions to be answered for days. So shows just like what we're doing here, weekend, man, blah, 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 all day long. And that's the benefit of that fight. That's the excitement of that. That's why Jon Jones gets that title match right out of the gate.
Exactly. That's why Conor McGregor gets his special treatment. I mean, the dude can't fart without TMZ Sports reporting on it. I mean, there's hardly a week that goes by where me and Matt's not talking about whatever the hell Conor just did, you know? So, guys, if you're watching this, up-and-coming fighters, be interesting. Give us a reason to talk about you from here on out. Conor McGregor, he's done it from day one. He is taking a microphone. He's pointed out his finger, poked people in the chest saying, I want you. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to whoop your ass. Because he made his career calling out Joe.
That guy.
Yeah. Jeremy Stevens, like just these little sound bites right here. Like, make yourself into a star. If you watch old Ric Flair promos, watch old Dusty Rhodes promos. Conor McGregor would even tell you, like, he watched that. And I've gave people a history lesson not too long ago on this show saying how Muhammad Ali essentially said, like, he ripped off his whole gimmick on Gorgeous George, really old pro wrestler guys. Like, I dug his style and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to talk like him. So that's what I did.
Matt's probably heard me say this to fighters all the time when I'm doing interviews and stuff. And sometimes they get on the mic, they're a little nervous, they fumble. I tell them, say, guys, you have got to get better at this. Just like you have to get better in the gym, you have to get better at fighting. If you want to take this to the next level, if you want to get to that big stage, this is how you get there, and this is how you stay there. You've got to get better. You have to develop a character. Let the people know who you are. Get the fans emotionally involved in you, and you've got them. And when I say that by emotionally involved, you've got to be a little flamboyant, a little over the top. Me, myself, I'm trying to get noticed, still climbing that ladder after 13 years. I'm a little flamboyant. I'm a little obnoxious. I get out there, but you got to get eyes on you. And the beauty of it is when you do those kind of things, if you look at, let's say, Floyd Mayweather. When Floyd first was fighting, he was pretty boy Floyd Mayweather.
Pretty boy Floyd, yeah.
Mediocre at best. You might have knew who he was, might not have. When he took on that heel persona, started carrying around the satchel of cash, I'm money Mayweather now. Well, guess what? The people that were down with the swag, they fell in love with him. The guys that weren't, they thought he was obnoxious. I hate that guy. But you know what? He was making money off both of them. I'm buying a ticket because I love you. I want to see you fight. I'm buying a ticket because I want to see you get your ass whipped. I think you're obnoxious. But you're getting all the money. Like Conor said, they love you today. They hate you tomorrow. Just make sure you get paid both. And that's the beauty of it. That's where you bring that character out. You're not going to make everybody happy. Don't think you're going to be that good guy. Just, everybody loves me. Somebody, go to Twitter. Tell you what, go to Twitter, buddy, and you'll see what the world thinks of you, man. Twitter ain't got no chill. Old Dynamite just learned that the hard way. But, yeah, man, you got to bring out that character, let people know who you are. That's what I tell them all the time about me. When you see me out there in the cage and I'm cutting and strutting and doing my thing, man, that's pretty much me, just kind of turned up to about 11 or 12.
Yeah, that's every pro wrestler. Like every pro wrestler will tell you, like the best gimmicks are the one where your personality is cranked up to 11. So what you said is absolute fact right there. I just had a good thought, a good side hustle for you. Maybe you should take some of these younger fighters aside, give them some promo classes, let them cut you a check on the side.
Hey, I'm always here to help, man. Give back to the game that's given so much to me.
There you go, man. All right, Dynamite, it's been a pleasure having you on. Anything you want to plug before we let you go?
Hey, man, we got some great events coming up. As you know, Matt, we've got our next AK event coming up from Boijovic City on UFC Fight Pass one more time. So if you don't have your subscription, make sure you grab it, tune in. AKA American Combat Alliance. Bishop Promotions, Matt Bricker handling all of our stories and write-ups over there. Old Dynamite, the man in charge of the action, the maniacal micro of the fight. Look, lost it. Anyway, so yeah, guys, we got that coming up. Then Gulf Coast MMA number 9 is going to be March 20th, the night after the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. We're in the big building, the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. Stacked card. You're going to see Ja'Cory Savage fight on that card again. You're going to see Brandon Killer B. Davis on that card that night. So that one's coming up. And guys, thank you so much for having me. As always, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dynamite, saying thank you all so much for coming out. God bless you and good night.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
All right. That was good. That was fun. So much fun. Yeah. Especially that intro part. I hope Blake records that. That was awesome. All right. We actually had a comment in the Notorious and Jerry World this summer. I forgot about this headline because there's so much going on in the MMA world this week that Texas announced that everybody is open for business. And Dana White said that they're going to Texas. So do you think that first fight is in Jerry World, or do you think they're going to go probably an arena show? What do you think?
I don't know, but he said, hey, UFC 260 or 261 is going to be in Texas, which is the next card or the following card. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just going to depend on what they can work out. But, man, I know they want to get back on the road and get rolling.
Yeah. Last week when you were doing your show, I teased, I had a good rumor come my way from a very reliable source about what's going to be breaking either this month or next month. I got a feeling that's what's going to be at Jerry World. I gave the viewers a hint. It was hot sauce and whiskey. So put those pieces together. I promise you that I think that's what's going to be going on in Jerry World. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about tomorrow. We got a stupid stat card coming at y'all tomorrow. We got UFC 259. We got Jan Blachowicz, Polish Power versus Izzy, the last style bitter Adesanya. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about this entire card from top to bottom. This card is stupid stacked, and I cannot wait. Like me and the wife are going out tomorrow night for a dinner just to get away from the kids for a little bit. But the entire time I'm gonna be in the back of my mind, I can't wait to get on the watches. I can't wait on the watches. All right, so we're like, even like the very first fight on this card, the curtain puller is Jon Jones versus Mario Bautista. I can't think of a better curtain puller for this fight. Both of these boys are going to come out swinging. And next we have Euros Medic versus undefeated, by the way, versus Ayon Cruz. Good fight. Let's go ahead and Jake Matthews, somebody who has had a string of bad luck in his fight. So I'm looking forward to him rebounding. He's going up against undefeated Sean Brady. So that's going to be a fun one right there. We got Carlos Ulberg versus Kennedy Nchewu. I'm sorry, I cannot say these names sometimes. That's on me. So this cat from Nigeria. So we got good 205 action. I love the 205 division, what's happening right now with it. And we also got never boring Tim Elliott. I'm a huge Tim Elliott fan versus Jordan Espinoza. So that's leading off the prelims. And we got Kai Kara France versus Rogerio Bontorian. We got Askarov versus Joseph Benavidez. Let's start off with this one. We're going to start our predictions right here. So we got Joe B versus Askarov. So Matt, who you got in this one?
I think I'm gonna go with Askar. I just think Benavidez is starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. I just, I like Askarov. I always got a soft spot for the guys coming from the Russia Polish into the world. He had a great run there so far in the UFC. He's 3-0 in the UFC. So yeah, I think it's just Benavidez has been a staple of the division for a long time, but eventually, as we saw with the heavyweight division, where letting some key guys go, things happen and time catches everybody. Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah. We also got Joseph Benavidez, one of the best fighters ever to have never win a title. So I think this is his swan song. I think this is him going out on his shield. I'm taking Askarov by a grindy decision, but a little soft spot of me wants to see Joe B have one more run in him. It's just these guys who get so close to the title time after time after time after time. You want to see them get it. So I want Joseph to win, but I think it's going to be Askarov. Our next fight, we got at 135, we got Kyler Phillips versus Song Yadong. Matt, who you like in this one?
I like Song Yadong. I mean, he's been looking very good since he went to Team Alpha Male. And yeah, I mean, I really like what he's done so far. I mean, he's undefeated in the UFC, so I think he's going to continue his ascension.
I think I got that one too. So far, we got the same two fights. We got Askarov and we got Song Yadong. Let's see if we can get a different one coming up. All right, next we got the greatest bantamweight of all time, in my opinion. We got Dominick Cruz versus Casey Kenny. I'm taking Dominick Cruz in this one. I will never pick against Dominick Cruz. Probably top 3 of my favorite fighters ever. So who you got in this one?
Yeah, same thing. Almost for the same reasons. It's almost just the nostalgia factor of Cruz. I mean, he's just, he's one of those last guys from the WEC days that was really, a staple in that organization, really. And yeah, I mean, he just came over to the UFC, did his thing. So yeah, I mean, Cruz pretty much for the same reason, just the nostalgia factor that he brings with his name.
Yeah, they're headlining the prelims. So we both got the same card again. So let's go up to 205. I got a feeling I know who you're taking in this one. We got Thiago Santos versus Alexander Rakic. Who you got in this one? I'm taking Rakic.
Oh, that's who I'm going with too. I'm going with Rakic. Yeah, I mean Santos. He's had a rough go over the last couple fights. But I've against top names. But I mean that's kind of the trend for Santos when he gets up against those bigger names. I mean you can look good up to a certain point. Everybody's got their ceiling, their wall. He may have hit it. Rakic is just he's lost a split decision. Kind of win either way when you really look at, how people see it. Aside from that, I mean, he's got, first round knockouts, I just think, Rakic is just going to be a little bit too much for Santos to get back on his feet.
Absolutely. I'm taking Rakic as well for that very same reason. I think Rakic is, I think with this win, and depends on how our main event goes. If it goes Jon, I see him fighting Jon next. But if it's Izzy, I see Izzy fighting Jon Jones next. But we'll get to that main event in a few minutes. All right, so our next fight is my pick for fight of the night. It's Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober. I'm leaning Islam on this, but there's something creeping in the back of my mind that Drew Dober is probably going to pull it off. I would not be surprised if he did. Highly entertaining fighter, but I'm taking Makhachev on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Makhachev. I mean, he's got too much momentum behind him right now, and yeah, I mean, he's looked impressive every time out so far. So yeah, I'm definitely going with Makhachev for right now.
All right, let's see if we get a different fight on this one. How about Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling? We talked about this before about how
I think we did, yeah.
Fight. So I was thinking about it today. I think I'm going Aljo on this. I think if he gets that takedown, he's a very damn good underrated wrestler, extremely underrated wrestler, but he works that Sarah Longo boxing style, so we don't really see much of the wrestling. We see more jiu-jitsu and boxing come from him, but if he gets that takedown, he closes that distance against Yan, it's going to be Aljo. But if Yan even called him out, he said he's going to be shooting for his life on this fight. But I think all Aljo needs is just one takedown. I think he gets it, and I think if he gets that takedown, it's night for Yan. So I'm taking Aljo on this. So who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Aljo because I think that's who I went with initially when we first talked about it. I mean, he's just so unconventional. And like you said, it just takes that one time on the mat, that's where he differs so much from, any other fighter. He just needs that one. And he's so, he's just so unconventional on the ground. There's so many different things he can do. I mean, 5 rounds is a long time to go without, Aljo getting you to the ground, especially, working with Sarah and those guys. It just takes once, like we were talking about even when we had Dynamite on it, it just takes one time for, one slip up for something to happen. 25 minutes is a long time to be perfect.
This is a guy who wrestles Chris Weidman, who's one of the best MMA wrestlers of all time. He wrestles with him on a daily basis almost. Yeah. So I think if he can take down Chris Weidman, I think he'll have no problem taking down Peter Yan. But hey, if Peter Yan can go 5 rounds taking down every single shot Sterling does, I'll tip my hat to him and say that he's probably the most underrated fighter in the world if he can do that. But again, Sterling, he's a very good wrestler. I'm hitting this hammer a lot tonight. When I say this, he is a very, very damn good wrestler. So we both got Aljo. Co-main event time. Nunes versus Anderson. Who do you got?
And I got to go with Nunes until I can see, somebody that can knock her off. Man, I mean, just, defending both titles, balancing the weight classes. I don't know if if that has some kind of effect, maybe long term. But man, I mean, she's definitely giving up some size, that's for sure. But man, I mean, just until I see otherwise, I don't really have a reason to go against Nunes. I mean, obviously the women's GOAT, that's without saying, but like we said, things can happen. But, just if I have to pick a winner, I'm going with Nunes.
This is where we differ. I'm taking Anderson in the upset. I think this size, I think this range is not a good matchup for Nunes. She is the woman's GOAT. Win, lose, or draw in this. Yeah. She could lose in the most embarrassing fashion ever, but she will still be the woman's GOAT. But I'm taking Anderson. I think that size difference is going to be a lot. But we will see. We will see. Speaking of size advantage, here we go. Main event time. We got Jan Boijovic, Polish Power versus Izzy Adesanya. Izzy Adesanya is my pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. But honestly, I think Jan is the worst possible matchup for him. Somebody who could put your lights out with one shot. Not only that, somebody who is very technical in their striking. Someone who's very precise in their striking. Someone who just doesn't Like, it's not like a bull shark, someone who doesn't smell blood in the water and just goes gung-ho on you, somebody who's very methodical in their strikes, but has that power behind it. So I'm taking Jan Blachowicz in this one. I think he's going to put Izzy away, and some just fell. But I'm taking Jan Blachowicz in round 1. So who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Jan, yeah, I mean, man, he's been doing this for a long time. This is not his first rodeo, he's been, he was KSW's first light heavyweight champion. And that's back when KSW, they were doing, those one night tournaments. You were fighting 3 times to win a championship,
Right.
That was from like KSW 6. So, I mean, he's been around for a while. I know that the big stat he started like 2-4 or something like that, and then turned it around. So I mean, he's got the mindset. Obviously he's got the power. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, Izzy came in a little bit bigger at the weigh-ins," but yeah, how much more is Izzy going to add on? Jan's going to add on 21 pounds.
Here's what solidified my pick tonight was Izzy said he's going to go in that octagon the same way he weighed in, and he's going to be 201 pounds.
He's not going to be able to add it.
Jan's going in there like 220 something,
yeah.
So Jan's going to have a big ass size advantage in that tiny little cage. You're using the small cage tomorrow, so I just think this is not a good night for Izzy coming up. But again,
yeah, I mean, you could be, and like you said, you could be the pound for pound grade, but I mean, if you would have put Sugar Ray Robinson in there against Muhammad Ali. Ali just got to hit him, or one of those big guys. You can still be the best. It only takes one shot. The pound for pound is it's kind of a an odd conversation to have. But still, you take the smallest guy you take the flyweight champion and the heavyweight champion. The heavyweight champion is only going to take one shot. It doesn't mean the flyweight's not a better fighter. He may be the best fighter in the world, but size is something. Size accounts for something. And, Izzy can be the best, but if he's fighting a guy, 50 pounds heavier and that can hit, whatever, however they measure the PSIs, 500 PSI stronger, it only takes one shot. No matter how good you are, you're still a human. The human body can still only take so much, no matter how good you are. And I think that's just what's going to happen. I think Izzy's the better fighter. Yeah. But I think, Jan is just a rope too long to try to climb there.
Absolutely.
And I hope everybody got the pun with the rope thing. I'm sure we'll get to that in a second, but
yeah. If you don't know that, the rope pun is that Jan Blachowicz, when he was a young boy, walked by a guy. I think it was out
walking his dog.
Walking his dog
in the forest.
Yeah, he saw a guy hanging from a tree, and he carries around that rope with him for good luck. Man, these Polish cats are built differently. These Eastern Europeans, good God.
And it is. Yeah. It's like I've looked it up. It's like from like the 1880s. There's recorded instances of where it's like it's good luck to where if you see somebody hanging to take a piece of the rope. Like people would fight over when they would hang people in the gallows and stuff. They would fight over the rope for future good luck.
Man. Especially with this country's history, we don't want to carry around that.
Yeah, no, it's different. He's got it like it made it into a bracelet now and everything. I mean, it's just like we always talk about every episode. We bring it up how the fight cultures are different. Man, that's just one of them things. It's a different world over there.
Man. Fighters are weird people. That's why they fight for a living.
Yeah.
So those are our predictions. We both got Jan. We both got Aljo. We both have Islam. We both have Rakic. We both have Dom. We both have
Song Yadong.
Yeah, just co-main. That's the only pick we have different. So from top to bottom, we're agreeing on everything except that one. I think Megan gets upset. All right. So our last topic of the night on George Masvidal's Facebook, he has confirmed that he has a second date. Not many people get second dates these days, especially with COVID going on. We got George Masvidal confirming his date with Kamaru Usman and is set next September. When he said September, that told me one thing, that these two will be coaching the Ultimate Fighter. So, Matt, what do you think about this rematch? You think somebody else should have got it, or what do you think about Colby? What do you think is going on there?
I don't know, because I would have thought something with Masvidal and Colby, could have set up, for a future title fight. the great storyline there, the friendship fracturing, and a title shot on the line. They could have built a lot with that. So, yeah, I mean, you never know. Colby could have some kind of injury or something. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that could have happened. And like you said, a date that far out, or unless they're hoping on some more states opening up and hoping for a big show somewhere. We may see a lot of that now, especially, with Texas opening up and, and Mississippi opened up, just around us, speaking locally to, our local fans. Yeah, I mean, they could be banking on something to open up. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know who else. I mean, he's beat everybody. I mean, nobody has really, come to the forefront is really, a prominent contender. Everyone's kind of in that same bubble. They're all kind of the same. You can pick and choose who you want at this point. They're all kind of the same.
Absolutely. So I know it's way too early to make this prediction. We don't know how either guy's training camp goes. We don't know what headlines surround them coming closer to the fight. But if the fight were to happen tomorrow, who are you taking?
Usman,
even with the full camp monster, you taking
absolutely.
I think I gotta agree with you on that.
Full camp, half camp, quarter camp, whatever you want to give Usman. He's just that much more dominant, I think. I mean, it's just, man, he's gonna go on a run. I mean, it's gonna take some kind of super fight or something. But man, Usman is just so dominant right now. He's truly at the peak of his performance right now. I mean, he is just the best Usman we're gonna see for a little while now. He's at that peak. And like I said, everyone else in that division they're all kind of bottlenecked right there, probably 2 through, whatever number you want. They're all kind of the same. You can kind of pick and choose who you want at this point. There's no one really standing out. Like lightweight, there's so many guys that stand out on their own that can be, a champion and contender. Like, we got Chandler and, all these guys that can, but at welterweight, they're really good. It's a really good division, but they're all kind of the same as far as, like we were talking about with Dynamite, the personality of things that stand out. They're all really kind of close, and no one really is grabbing that brass ring to really get the next shot at Usman.
I agree. I think personally, it's going to take a bigger fighter. It's going to take a stronger fighter. It's going to take a stronger wrestler just to take that belt off of Usman at welterweight. And so far, nobody at welterweight is going to do it.
Yeah, and they always say wrestling. Wrestling is the best base for MMA, and I mean, he's got a great wrestling game. So I mean, man, like you said, it's going to take somebody a division up that's going to be able to stop him right now. Or we keep talking about if Khabib come. I think Khabib's done, but something like that, I think would be the only thing that could rattle Usman's cage to get him a loss. But I mean, the guys that are in welterweight right now, I mean, he's going to run it just like GSP ran it. I think it's going to be a similar thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while before we see him get unthrown. Only fighter I could see doing it is probably a local boy from Lafayette, maybe somebody who goes by the nickname Ghost, somebody who's not afraid to fight off his back, somebody who's not afraid to bring the fight to Usman. Hopefully wouldn't that be some crazy shit if one day they actually did fight.
Definitely.
I'll probably have to get tickets to that. All right, so let's end it, man. Let's debut our new segment. Let's introduce 3% Polish with Matt Breaker. Matt, we're giving you 3 minutes. What's going on in Warsaw, Poland right now?
Fame MMA 9 is tomorrow, which is Popek is the main event. If you don't know who Popek is, man, I mean, this guy is something else. He's got the tattooed eyeballs. He's got the scarification where he actually had surgery done to cut scars into his face and stuff. The guy's a nut. I mean, the guy is just something. I mean, we always talk about MMA fighters. You got to be a little off to get punched in the head. This guy is off. But he's a real popular rapper in Poland too. I mean, he's got like gold singles, and I mean, he is a very popular singer. He's fighting another rapper, over there in Poland for the main event, who's fighting in his second fight or so. But yeah, I mean, that's the big thing this weekend. KSW 59 we'll talk about is in a couple weeks on March 20th. Putz is fighting in the main event. Is the world's strongest man from Poland. He's fighting a wrestler from Senegal. He's like one of their top all-time, and he's like their second or third greatest wrestler ever. The Senegal wrestling is a little bit different. But I mean, this dude is a massive dude. I mean, he's making his KSW debut. Anton Rakic is defending the bantamweight title. He is KSW's first bantamweight champion. He's their only champion they've ever had. He's defending his title. So there's a lot going on. FEN has got FEN 33 coming the week after KSW. So there's a lot coming on at the end of the month. But yeah, I mean, Popek right now, he's the guy to watch for tomorrow. So I mean, he got out of KSW. He's had some issues with steroids. I mean, we'll just say it because I mean, he's not afraid to say that he takes it. He's like, man, it is what it is. You know, he's not afraid to say it, so I'll say it. You know, I'm not really accusing him of it if he says he takes it. But you know, I mean, he looks jacked up. You know, he's a lot bigger than he was in his KSW days. So, you know, I mean, he's kind of got the spotlight and pulling man. It's just like we said, it's a whole different world over there. I mean, he is like an entertainer / MMA fighter / you know, they like a lot of that kind of stuff over there. We call them freak fights, but I mean, they like that kind of stuff.
I love them.
Yeah, I mean,
so, tell people watching how can they watch that at home?
Fame MMA, it's going to be through their website. You can get the pay-per-view through their website. FEN is the same way. KSW, you can get a lot of them. KSW has their own app now, so you can do that through their app. FEN and Fame MMA, you can go to their websites and you can.
And it's only $20. Cheap.
And less than that. They're between it's only like when you break it down to American dollars, it's like $11. Because it translates it from
that's like 3 long necks at a bar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it translates it from the Polish dollar to American, and it's like $11. And they're 9-10 card fights. And the good thing about when you watch a lot of these Polish fights is compared to the UFC is it's not oversaturated. The UFC, you have events every single week. KSW, you have an event. They're obviously the leader in Poland. You get an event every month, but still one event a month. That's a lot of a talent that you have there. These other ones like FEN and Fame maybe do, you know, every 6 to 8 weeks or so. So you have a lot of talent. So you may get, you know, 8 or 9 fights, but it's, you know, real, you know, high quality the whole way through, because a lot of these guys, you know, they're kind of sitting on the bench waiting their turn, because it's kind of like the older UFC days. Every card was jam packed, where, you know, we're kind of used to that oversaturation now here. You know, we're kind of spoiled to having a UFC event every single week. You know, it kind of the talent kind of gets, you know, you're kind of fishing for talent there. But these Polish fights, you know, they're nonstop from the bottom up. I mean, there's just amazing talent there. There really is. And I mean, they're going to have a huge explosion. You know, Dracus du Plessis has a fight coming up. Mateusz Gamrot has another fight coming up. He was the KSW's featherweight and lightweight champion. He had a very close, you know, decision loss. It was really kind of close. But I think he's really going to make a big name for himself. There's a lot of these guys, you know, Mateusz, Roberto Soldic, you know, he's the KSW welterweight champion. He's definitely a name to watch out for. Mateusz Rebecki, he's the welterweight champion at FEN. He's another one that's going to make a jump. This year, there's going to be a lot of Polish names that are going to make the jump. They're all kind of ready to make that jump.
Excellent. All right, so I think that does it for us tonight. You hit your 3% Polish segment like a champ. Probably the best debut. Move over, Michael Chandler. That's the debut of the year right there.
Hell yeah.
All right, so that does it for us tonight. Y'all remember, hit that subscribe button on Are You Serious Sports on YouTube. You will not regret. You're going to get great LSU content day in, day out from Blake Ruffino. Every Friday, you'll get us two handsome devils on here talking about people getting half naked, getting in a ring and punching each other in the face. Yeah. But we love it every single time. All right, so that does it for us. Matt, anything you want to tell them?
Tell all your friends about the First Roll AYS FightClub. Tell all your friends about the Fight Club. And tell them to subscribe to the Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all of it. Get involved every way you can. Spread the word.
All right. So that does it for us. Y'all be good.